Hey, welcome back. Thanks for checking us out. Today we've decided to focus a little bit on the Discover mechanic from the latest set. And, well, let's just get right into it. This is a weird deck. You wouldn't make Mythic with this, but if you want to have fun, well, here we go. So, it's by far the most expensive casting cost deck, but oddly enough, it works. So, the whole deal is to keep the casting cost 4 and above. So, we'll actually start near the end, and we're going to be using focused on this gentleman, or this planeswalker, and this Carnosaur. So, Quintorius Kond, legendary planeswalker, one white, one red, three other. When you cast a spell from exile, yeah, you do 2 damage to your opponent and you gain 2 life. First ability is to create a 3/2 red white spirit creature token. Its second ability is -3, discover 4, which is by far the ability you're going to use the most. And -6, exile any number of target cards from your graveyard. Add red to each card exiled this way. You may play those cards this turn. You're always going to almost always use the discover 4 option, which if you look at the deck, if it was to discover 4, it's only going to get you depopulate. So you drop this guy, you discover 4, you clear the board. He's pretty much the only thing left standing. It's amazingly effective when you have these as backups to recover what you've lost. So, speaking of which, Virtue of Persistence. Still one of my favorite cards from the previous set. Its adventure ability is great. 1 black, 1 other. Target creature gets -3/-3, and you gain 2 life. This deck actually has several ways to get little plicks of life, and the thing is that there are a lot of split cards. They all have a secondary ability that's cheap, so they're going to come out mostly by, in this case, using the channel ability of 1 green, 1 other, discard Herd Migration, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, gain 3 life, more life. This persistence, if you get this enchantment out, which usually you do, it's not hard to get 7 mana with this deck. You start bringing creatures from any graveyard too, so your opponent could have some real gems in there and you'll take advantage of it. And this is your other graveyard recursion, and she works really great, especially if you use the Carnosaur in any kind of way before it and just use this 3 damage to a creature or a planeswalker. And then when you drop her, she attacks and brings that back in from the graveyard, for which then he can go and grab more stuff himself. So the selection also for Discover 5. So let's go over his ability next, I guess. So Trumpeting Carnosaur, 2 red, 4 other, 7/6 trample. When he enters the battlefield, discover 5. So he's only going to pick out 5 or less for casting costs in the cards, which is only going to give you the Kond or Nahiri's Resolve or Pliny's Hatcher. Now this is the one you want as soon as you're going to bounce into this. You sometimes don't mind clearing the board with this out if you have recursion already in hand. You can pull one of these, which is a very useful card, but it's a tricky balance to get because it's not a useful card without things out there. 1 white, 1 red, 3 other, enchantment. Creatures you control have +1/+0 and have haste. At the beginning of your end step, exile any number of non-token artifacts and/or creatures you control. Return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of your next upkeep. So he comes out, if he manages to grab this in that specific instance, gets his attack, is able to attack, and then at the end of the turn, this can actually take him off the board. And then when he comes back the next turn, his ability activates again. Grabbing this is usually the more common option. You're just going to drop it, and it's just going to give you more bodies, and things to attack right away. Especially since this isn't legendary, you can have 2 out there at the same time, which then they affect each other, and away they go. So back to some of the other cards that fill this in. Greater Tanuki, 2 green, 4 other for a 6/5 trample. Not often you cast it, sometimes you do though. Its channel ability, 1 green, 2 other. Discard Greater Tanuki. Search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. You can use these channeled abilities on your opponent's turn. So a lot of the time you're playing a land during their turn. So your turn 3, can turn into 5 mana on your next turn 4, which starts rolling into these things right away. It turns the aggression notch up. We've already gone over this one. Leyline Binding. It isn't ideal in that you can't get it to just one white, because I'm actually only using 4 colors in this. I'm not using any blue cards. But at 2 casting costs, this is still a really good card, and it can get rid of some of the pesky cards that sometimes you can't get into. And again, if you drop a couple of trip lands, this thing can get like 2 casting costs on turn 2. So it's very quick to get out in the right circumstance, and this casting cost is rarely used for full value. Herd Migration, also note, if you can get 4 beasts out there, again, having 4 basic lands isn't too hard to do with this deck, and then to have the Resolve out there, you're now going to have 4/4/3 tokens that can attack the turn you cast them. That can change the balance a lot. So 2 of each basic lands, just so they can come in untapped, also so that you can get them on the plenty. Then the duels are just a mixture of what I thought was strong for the colors. You generally need a lot of black early. You'll want to cast your Virtue of Persistence, which means turn 2. If you want to have it, you need to be able to use it. And green. Green is also a very important starting color. Without green, you can't really go into your deck and grab the other basic lands you need to start filling everything out. So it's pretty heavy in getting some green. Red isn't as strong. You need 2 by the time you get here. Usually not that difficult. So it's just a couple of each of the kinds of duels that'll give us the variety that we need to make sure we have, but not overdoing it, because again, you want some basic lands to keep Leyline Binding cheap. The Proving Ground and the Jetmir's Garden are the only 2 trip lands that don't have blue in them, so they fit every color we got here. Cavern of Souls, again, it's a stable card for me. You bring out, you say dinosaur, and you're going to now protect yourself from when you need to try to cast your Carnosaur. I've done just a sick amount of playtesting with this. It was a fun concept, but I went through some alternate cards. So one of the things I noticed that you can get overwhelmed early, especially with lots of weenie powers flying around there. The bonus life you get from these cards can definitely help, and they can extend you a couple extra turns. And I was starting to think of ways of bringing in 4 casting cost board sweeps. That's where I ended up with Depopulate, the ultimate board sweep, because I figured if I'm going to kill everything, I want to go big. This was interesting, the Elder Dragon War, because it allowed me to read ahead. So if I needed a creature or to exchange cards, by also them putting cards in the graveyard, which helps me with my creature recursion. It came very close, but its 2 casting cost just wasn't big enough. Its 2 damage wasn't big enough. The X card I tried was also the Invasion of Karsus. 3 to each, and Planeswalkers. And that's what I liked in that. If I had someone playing Super Friends, this was the kind of card that could wipe out the board. Unfortunately, it also means it wipes out your Planeswalker too. So I ended up dumping it because it wasn't worth dumping it to get rid of my own Planeswalker. And I really did try, as usual, to get the Skullspore Nexus in there. I love that card. And the idea of blasting my creatures and then just having this big monster left from behind was attractive. But it seemed to be a win more card. You're already going to win, it looked like, anyway, so it was just going to crush what was already a victory. So for what it does, and this thing is tight, there's 27 lands in this deck. I had to really find ways to get more and more in there. That is by far the beefiest casting cost. But when this thing started, I mean, in the early game, it can stall. You can stall it, gain life, pick things off. Don't be afraid to use this Carnosaur for damage. You can bring it back with the Virtue or the Bride. You're going to have the odd graveyard sweeps, but I don't run into them as much. And if you give them enough other things to worry about, they're going to be all tired by the time these things come out anyway. And if you catch them napping, the Resolve and the Migration can end things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a fun one to make. Kind of frustrating to get some wins with, though, because it's clunky. But it took some time to practice and get used to too. Yeah, I went through a lot of iterations. So enjoy the video. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe. Give a comment if you happen to have some ideas or you any thoughts about the deck itself. And have a great day, guys. Later. Hey again. Welcome back for some more. Up we are with Chameleon 3 in our quest to climb the ladder on Standard Arena. That is not a good start. So, here we go with this instead. Also not good, but we can still accept this. You're so far ahead. We don't need that. So, what you got, Chameleon 3? White. Well, there's the land we needed, so we'll get that out of the way. Since we don't really need anything else and can't cast anything on their turn, tapped or not, it doesn't matter. It does show a little bit extra weakness to them, that I'm not holding back something, so. But I don't really want to use the Cavern of Souls yet, in case they're playing blue-white. Cavern of Souls is a good surprise card. They'll sometimes sit back on their countering. Alright, we're not going to be worried about blue now. We don't like that, but that will be gone. This easy. Good game. Hello. And I'm not sure what good game that means. That seems rather presumptuous. Alright. That's it. I'm waiting for him to punch me, I guess. We'll use the Great Tanuki to either get out our Resolve or Cond, depending on the board state. Another one of those. Leaning towards it, isn't he? Let's try and surprise him. See if we can induce him to play another land. Do we have lots of everything here? No, we don't, do we? Black, green, red, green, white. So let's go with another white. For the plains. Nope, he did not want to bite. Well, let's play this then. Put out this. It's either going to bring out the card he's holding to destroy enchantments. A lot of white decks have been playing them lately. Or he'll ignore it. No, he'll kill it next turn. Next turn he drops a creature, so we are about to board wipe. Yay, board wipe. Do we do it this way or this way? This way. We want to get a creature there next turn. Let's find that next one and save the one in our hand for sure. Whoosh. Alright, your turn again. What do you got? Another Elder. Really wants to kill that thing. I really want you to go away. Elder bad. Elder eat lots of things I use. Run! We'll use the Tanuki next turn to get the land we need to play Persistence. If that doesn't get a concede, based on his ability to handle any more enchantments, he might not. Alright, Tanuki. Find my land. Black, please. Swamp. Well, let's proceed to put 2 4/2s down on him first. Using that mana up. Pop. Do not mind that. Alright. Here comes another play. He'll probably explode if he doesn't have answers. Whatever it is, it's that one card he's holding. I sense a bit of spitefulness from you, Chameleon. Unless you were to really play a land. But you have no answers, do you? No, it's just playing around. Alright. Maybe you're playing your daily quests. That Elder looks good on my side, though. Good game, Chameleon. Zoom is zoom. Well, easy one. Let's see what we can do for the next one. Thanks for checking things out. Catch us later, guys. Bye. I guess here. What you gonna do? One card left in your hand. Nothing, he says. Well, this could be a rush then. 1, 2. And you. Why? Let's just send them all in. He will have 1 left, but the rest will hit. Unless Bandit Smoker chooses just the Harry Carry method and steps out. Deep thoughts. Have to apply the pressure. That is the way I thought he would go. Maybe he has a little board clear in his hand. Well, that's not going to get you far. That's going to get you dead. Well, that's another one down. That's speed and pressure. Off to the next. Have a good one. Later. Welcome back for more. Hello, Dragon Elf 71. That is not a bad start. Gets me my green right away. Can roll into turn 2 action should I need to. He's playing with that. He's playing with lots of creatures. That guy was made to generate life. Dinosaur, and your go. We'll do the herd migration on his turn, so we'll have another land to play. Should go for the 2nd white mana. So we'll depopulate when we need to. Oh, just not playing a land. You. Thank you. Yeah, let's get that land out there so we can at least cast it if we need to. Next, your go. I don't mind scaling up fast here. Or is that what you're trying to do? Trying to be all shifty? Aren't you going to be shifty when I clear the board on you? No land. He must have thought he had hope. Well, if that's all you're going to do, I'll let you hit me as long as you're not doing any shenanigans. Alright. And meanwhile, I'm just going to be rolling into land. Go the mountain this time. He's not done enough really to make a threat, right? And I don't mind this creature being in the graveyard. Gives me more to attack with later. There you go. That's why he had 2 mana confidence. Well, I still got chump blockers, should I need them. I might even save them, because they are still potentials down the road. I'm in no danger yet. No. Come on in, it's only 3. Yeah, I'll get that back next turn, maybe. And like I said, I'll get that back this turn. Black, red. We have white. We have pretty much it all there now, so we'll go back to white. Make sure we have it. And yeah, it's your go. Mr. 2 mana. You must be frustrated with that deck. I've got 6 in time you got 2. Though 2 of them I had forced on, so 40 or 3. No, I'm still not blocking yet. I have plans. Though, you might disagree now. You probably still have more creature kill cards in your hand. And why else would you go through all this trouble? Let's try. See what happens. You don't want to let it attack. Yeah, there you go. I'll not do anything there. Play a land. And next turn, clear the board. Get as much resource out of them as I can. This time, I'm actually not going to block, so I'm going to use those to pump them up. That way there are little blockers that he'll actually have to contend with. Do I pull a land or is it a creature? Oh, definitely a creature I'll keep. And same with you. And same there. And sure go. Me and my eggs. And you and your small amount of tiny mana. I'm getting better, he says. I'm getting better. Dazzle me now, Lunarch Veteran. They're actually a nuisance right now. You actually have to do something about them now. I'm only dealing what you gave me. Is right? What's the brakes? We doing this again? We're doing this again? Shooting it again. He's certainly waiting for it. Get lost. But I still get to do stuff. I still get to do stuff. You can have that. And you can stay there. You'll be useful next turn. Off you go, little dino token creature. That's quite the collar to be born with. Oh, and he chooses to step out. And then again, really, for the mana difference, he just didn't have it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for checking out this one. Later. Welcome back. Hello once again. Time to try and do a little more playtest fun. Got some land, got a dinosaur. I think we can work with this. Greater Tanuki. Ooh, mulligan. Well, at least he knew the card he didn't want right away. There you go. I can cast that next turn and start climbing up the old ladder of land. The land ladder. Real thinker over there. That would have been hard to make those buildings. Maybe they built it from the inside. Well, that's an interesting enchantment. White, please. And here we go again. So I'm expecting to see lots of artifacts. No, not this one. This one. Put it right into play, please. Red mana. Well, let's see what the Palanese Hatcher is gone. Yeah, well, I've got 2 eggs now, and I'm taking care of them. Oh, mana hindrance. Thy name is Sincero. Do I want to go that way? Yeah, I do. Bring on more. In goes the egg for 3. He's got mana problems, and I am just floating in it. Really makes you wonder. Papa's here. Well, he's mana hindered. What are you gonna do? So far, we are walking through these, I guess, eh? Anyway, let's try for another later. Have a good one.